everybody, Coach Allison back, and guess what? It's week 40, which means we are in another mobility week. So this week, after last week, might be welcomed. I know last week's 100 reps was a little challenging, and congratulations to all of you for making it through. Okay, so mobility week, it's going to be a little bit lighter of a type of workout. Not easier. I don't want to make that. I want to make that distinction. Just lighter, just different. The movements, some of them are very challenging as far as of course, the mobility aspect, but that doesn't always mean easier. But it'll just be a little bit of a different feel this week. And the focus is, of course, mobility. We have 6 exercises, and they're going to be set up in stations. So we're going to be doing our standard circuit. Everything is 40 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and we're going to go through those 6 exercises for 4 rounds. All right, let's go through the 6 exercises. This first station is called a kettlebell hip to halo. Okay, so we are incorporating that halo exercise, which we do often, but there's one minor change here, and that's the hip component. So we start with the kettlebell in the bottoms up position, which is like a standard kettlebell halo. We're starting and stopping way far over at the hip. And we want that exaggerated, so it's way far over, like where a seatbelt would start in your car, way over here. So not slightly over at the side, but way far over. Choose something challenging. Of course, we need to keep in mind what the shoulders can handle. This is going to be some stability as well. Bottoms up kettlebell over here at the hip. Going to go across the body, follow where that seatbelt would go. Okay. Across the body. We're going to drop the bell of the kettlebell down just like that normal halo would go. Around the head. Bell is now back up, and we're coming to the other side of the hip. It really gets your hair, doesn't it? We might have some interesting hairstyles after all of these. All right, I'll do a few in a row, and then we reverse. Follow where that seatbelt would go, across the body. Bell now goes down to do the halo. Cross to the other side of the hip. Again, I'm exaggerating how far I'm bringing that kettlebell way over here. Do the halo. Over here. Just reverse the direction each time. So this one is also very coordination-y. So there's that component as well. Maybe coaches put this one by a mirror so we can all fix our hair afterwards. But yeah, that's new, kind of new, because we are incorporating that halo, which we do often, but the coordination of bringing it down to that opposite hip and then going around, that's going to be a little tricksy for some of us. But bringing it down here incorporates a whole different type of mobility and also a lot of stability. So try it out. Hope you enjoy it. Next one is 90-90 hip mobility. We did this for a warm-up quite a few months ago. So you have to you're sitting clearly, step your feet wide, and hands are back behind you for support. And we're going to drop the knees to one side as far as you can. Now, I'm pretty flexible and mobile in my hips, so I'm able to get my legs completely flush on the floor. And it's okay if you aren't able, if you're to stop them here, whatever, that's fine. You go as far as you can. Back to the start, and then the other direction. Now the goal here, your butt is going to start to crawl, so you can kind of reposition, scoot yourself back now and then if you need to. The goal here is slow and steady. We're not going for speed. Is to keep your chest and your torso kind of front facing as best you can. So by that, I mean, we're not letting the body turn. Now, see how now I turn my torso this way. We're trying to avoid that as much as possible. So I'll do a few of them like that, where I'm turning my torso too much. We don't want the torso to turn in the direction of the knees. We want to avoid that as much as possible. So instead of that, now I'm going to do my best to keep my chest and my torso facing forward. Significantly harder. See that difference, however? And therein actually lies the challenge of the mobility component that we're trying to address. If you allow your body and your torso to turn with your knees, you're not creating that mobility challenge in the hips, right? You can turn it a little, but just try your hardest to keep the body facing forward. So those of our participants who are staying off the floor, we're going to turn it into a hip opener, a standing hip opener. So we'll take the knee up, circle it around, back down, and then you're going to reverse the direction each time. See how I'm going forward, out, and back to the start, and now I'm going side and like so. You can definitely go near something to hold on with one hand while you do this, and if you don't need assistance holding on to something, alternate sides with each rep. So now I did forward and back there. Now I would switch sides. Okay. If you would like assistance holding on with something, watch a clock, have your coach tell you when it's halfway, and then switch sides halfway through. So that's still getting that hip mobility, doing a little something different for an alternative. Stability ball Y raise is the next one. So you're going to be kneeling on the ground in front, or behind, I should say, stability ball. Just rest comfortably on the ball. Okay, the ball is kind of on your chest. Arms are out. This one's challenging. It's very similar actually to the prone delt raise in our warm-up and the prone over and back we did 2 weeks ago. So your arms are in a Y position, so they're not straight out. Get them in that Y. We're going to raise and lower. Okay, raise them as high as you can. It might be pretty minimal. This is a very challenging. It's harder than it looks. Keep them in that Y position. They might want to start to navigate forward, so keep them out in that Y. And pause for a quick second at the top. Just a 1 second pause. And that's that one. Alternative for anyone staying off the floor, exact same arm movement on an incline bench. Your coach will have one in the space all ready. And you kind of step over it, straddle the bench, lean forward. They're very secure, I promise. And you do the same thing. Arms going up and down, keeping that Y position. You want to make sure that your chest is staying on the bench, though. We're not lifting up the body like this. Keep your chest on the bench. Only thing lifting is the arms. All right, those are the two options for the Y raise. We'll give it a try. Next up, we've got the mini band ankle walk. This one's different. So obviously start with a little tension on the band. We just don't want it slack so it falls down. Right at the ankles, okay, just over the shoes. And we go heel toe, walking those legs out, and then heel toe, crawling them, walking them back in. And we're going to continue that for the whole 40-second set. Go slow and controlled. We might as well turn this into a posture exercise too, so keep your posture up nice and tall. So make sure we're not kind of slouching, looking down at the feet, just kind of like not paying attention to what's happening up here. So I guess maybe, should I turn to the side? Let's see my posture. So from the side, posture up nice and tall, straight spine, while we're crawling those feet out. So this is working hip mobility, so it's getting kind of some adductions as well, and abductions going in and out. But those ankles, pardon me, for 40 seconds, if you use a firm enough band, are going to start to get really fatigued and really tired. And I want you to really watch my ankles when we're doing this part. I know it looks silly when I'm standing. I want you to really do an exaggerated movement with the ankles. So really see how much you can make them turn and get that mobility in the ankles, because mobility is the focus this week. So we're getting hip mobility, seeing how far we can go out and in with those hips, also working that ankle mobility. Modified break dancer is the next exercise. This one is a little challenging. It's going to actually be a combination of a core and mobility exercise, a lot of core actually. So this will be a good core focused exercise for our week. It's the modified component simply means we're up on an incline. Standard break dancer would be on the floor, but we're gonna all do incline. Now, I want your coach to have some different incline options. Lower, bench might be the lowest option, and then maybe some of those black boxes for some higher options as well. So, take a look at this. We're in a high plank to start, hands on the bench, shoulders pretty much over hands. They can be back an inch or two, like mine kind of are here. Hips level, so we want to avoid being like this. So we're not in a tabletop, we're in a plank. Start small. We can start tapping, or so what I'm doing is twisting a little bit, and I'm tapping my foot to the under and to the opposite corner, right? So already I'm getting some torso twisting, some mobility in my obliques and my hips. And then from there, you just progress the range of motion to make this a higher intensity and a bigger range of motion exercise. So that's all we do to make this more intense. So I'm going to start to twist a little further. Okay, now I'm kind of tapping my heel because I'm twisting further. So instead of tapping my toe, which I should maybe move, I'm tapping my toe like I was doing in the first example. Now I'm twisting farther, so I'm tapping my heel. Now, if you want to get really crazy and take it to the highest level, twist even further. I'm not even going to tap my foot to the floor at all. I'm going to keep the foot off the floor. I'm going to reach my foot like I'm kicking the air, not even connecting my foot to the floor. That option starts to get you into a little bit of strength too, because now I'm incorporating a little more arm, shoulder, and chest strength because I'm not tapping that foot to the floor to add extra stability. So there's a couple of options there. We can start with the first option where it was a smaller range of motion, tapping the toe, progress as you feel ready. Sorry, I keep getting notifications. But yeah, that's going to be a lot of core work, torso, so oblique, ab, and hip mobility, a little bit of upper body strength. This one might be will be the most aerobic of the circuit as well. All right, this last one is the wall arm slide. Extremely challenging shoulder mobility exercise. This one we have done on the floor in one of our warm-ups. Okay, the floor arm slide. I don't remember what it was called. All right, so we need some wall space for this. You step your feet forward a little bit, so we don't have to be feet against the wall like this. Step your feet forward, leaning back. You do want your butt against the wall, but you do not have to force your natural lower back arch against the wall. Yes, you want to kind of glue the rest of your back against the wall. You don't want to overly arch your back like this, but you don't have to force that natural. Like if I stand up with good posture, we all have like this little natural arch, right? So when I'm leaning into the wall, I'm going to have enough of a gap here to like slide my hand through, and that's fine. Okay, you don't have to force that natural arch into the wall. So just kind of lean naturally into the wall. All right, we're going to start like this. Oh man, 10 years ago when I learned this, I could get this a lot better to start. That's it. That's eye-opening. All right, we start with the arms back like this. Upper arms are about parallel to the floor. We do want as much of your upper back, shoulders, head, and then as much of all of the back of the arm against the wall as possible. Ideally, all of it. Oh yeah, and even the backs of the wrists and hands, everything, all of this against the wall in your head. So don't let your head come forward. Slowly slide the arms up. Slowly. So we're not doing this. Slowly. As the arms go up, they're going to squeeze inward. You should feel a ton of squeezing and heat and contracting in your shoulder muscles. All this time, I'm trying to keep everything I already mentioned against the wall. As high as you can. Squeeze your ears with your arms. And then slowly come back down to the starting position. It's going to feel kind of like a release right here. And we repeat this. So in the 40-second working set, you might only get 3 or 4 of those because you do want to go that slowly. If you get 10 of them, you're going way too fast. Just FYI. Yeah, I kind of want to maybe show you that from the side. So this demo might get a little long now that I think about it. But, okay, so what did I say? Step out from the wall a little bit, butt against the wall. But you can have a little natural arch here. See my natural arch? I'm not trying to force that in. Okay? Head and arms against the wall. Now, I'm not perfect. I can't do this one perfectly. I've got immobility issues. So don't, I'm not saying, I'm showing you this to be real with you. You might see my wrist or my hand lift off from the wall a little bit. See how I do here. Slowly coming up. I'm trying to keep everything glued to the wall. A lot of people, their wrists come off. This is pretty common. If you're finding your wrists wanting to do that, very common. Or it's the elbows like this. It's pretty common too. Slowly coming up, trying to keep everything glued back. Squeeze those ears with the biceps. Not literally, of course. And then slowly coming down. My elbow is coming off the wall a little bit. And there you go. Okay. Why that one is challenging is people, just in society this day and age, we tend to be very protracted. Yes, instead of retracted. So we tend to kind of have this natural position because we're at our desks all day, we're on our phones all day, we drive a lot. Everything we do is like this, right? So it kind of over tens of years, decades of time, we kind of have grown our bodies into this position. So when we try to do something like, oh, I'm going to force my body to do this, it doesn't like that. So it's a great mobility exercise. I know that demo got a little bit long. That way you can go into your session with your coach not having to do quite that long of a demo. Whew. But you're really going to feel that rear delt, medial delt, top of the shoulder, probably some other things too. That's a good one to do all year round as you continue your fitness journey. The stronger your shoulders get, the more flexible you get if you continue getting stronger and stretching. That does loosen up over time. So it's a good one to test out maybe every couple of months and see if it's improving. All right, so those were our mobility moves. Team builder this week. It's going to be a little different. It's kind of not a team builder. You're going to be working on your own. Everyone's going to grab a piece of cardio equipment, your choice. So treadmill, elliptical, spin bike, Aerodyne, whatever you like. We're going to do 4 to 5 minutes, depending on how much time your session has left, 4 to 5 minutes of steady state cardio. And I want you to work at an intensity level of a perceived exertion. So a PE level of like a 6 to 8. So out of a 1 to 10 scale. A 1 being you're sitting on the couch watching TV. So pretty minimal, right? And a 10 being like, you better call an ambulance because I feel like I'm going to pass out. So on that scale, perceived exertion, so everyone interprets that differently. I want you to feel like you're at a 6 to maybe 8 at the max. So that's steady state, about 4 to 5 minutes. Your choice of a cardio equipment. Treadmill, a good way. Now, you don't have to run on a treadmill to get good cardio, believe it or not. You don't have to walk really fast. Incline. Put that incline up to a level 7, 8, maybe even a 10, and walk at a kind of brisk pace, 2.5 to maybe 3.5. And if you have that incline up, you're not running, but that incline is going to give you a nice, challenging, steady state cardio. So just FYI, don't be afraid of the treadmills. You do not have to run. I hate running. I used to run. I did a half marathon myself, but I'm done with that. But you can still utilize the treadmills and get good cardio. Just want to throw that out there. So we do have enough cardio machines for everyone. So yeah, that is our team builder this week. 4 to 5 minutes on some cardio machines. All right, and that's week 40, our mobility week. We'll do that again in week 50. Hope you enjoyed it.